Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilma. Allahumma faqihna fid din. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una wa zidna ilma. Walhamdulillahi ala kulli hal. So here we are with our session number 41, and we are going to start with our review, inshallah. So we have been learning about fi'l mudari, and we have learned its different statuses. We have learned ad-damairul bariza that are there in al-fi'l mudari, and I am wanting to start with my review with the pronouns that are visible or that are called ad-damairul bariza within fi'l mudari marfu, and they will be present in all three statuses of fi'l mudari. But I have a slide from marfu status, so let's start here with the table in front. Who is going to tell me, who's going to be able to spot these visible pronouns? Let's start with visible pronouns, and then we'll go to hidden pronouns, inshallah. So fi'l mudari, visible pronouns: alif, waw, noon, ya. Very well done. Alif, waw, noon, ya. Very well done. So alif, aliful isnain, alif of dual, wawil jama'a, waw of plural, noonun niswa, indicating feminine plural, and yaul mukhataba, indicating anti, right? You, feminine, right? Singular. Barakallahu feek. So now the next question is a little tricky one, but we have learned it. It's not that I have not taught you. So name the harf that takes sukoon and drops it kasra if preceded by harf atf, waw, fa, or summa. Very well done. Lamul amr is the right answer. Barakallahu feek, my dear sister. Alhamdulillah, I'm seeing that, now you guys are responding. I think you did a good revision. Alhamdulillah. Very well done. Very well done. So remember, it is always going to be read with izhar whenever lamul amr takes sukoon, because it is according to the rule of tajweed. Sometimes, lam gets merged into something else, and sometimes it's not read. There may be idgham, but this lamul amr is always going to be read with izhar, and that is written on your slides if you happen to go over it. And always remember, if your lam has a sukoon and it is being preceded by harf atf and is followed by fi'l mudari that is in majzoom status, this lam cannot be anything but lamul amr. Will lamun nasiba change if preceded by harfat waw fa summa? Barakallahu feek. Right answer. No, it does not undergo any change. And alhamdulillah, we did practice this with our verse from Surah Al-Baqarah, that is a verse of Quran and Ramadan, right? So here we saw that when there was lamun nasiba, it did not undergo any change, right? It's routine, it's kasra. However, when there was lamul amr, it took sukoon, right? When it was preceded by fa. Everyone on board with this concept? Everyone is well versed with it now? Alhamdulillah? Alhamdulillah. Barakallah feek. Now there should be no confusion. A couple of years ago, I took a test from my grammar group, and people were confused between lamul nasiba and lamul jazima. So when you combine your tajweed rules with your grammar rules, things will sometimes make more sense. So this now I think with this being clarified, you should all know that if lamul amr is preceded by summa, waw, or fa, it's always going to be with sukoon. It will not retain its kasra. It will drop it. Okay, very well done. Okay, so status of mudari after lamul amr is What is the status of Modari? Very well done. Majzoom. It is majzoom after Lamul Amr because Lamul Amr is or Lamul Jazima. We are calling it Lamul Amr because so that we can keep it separate from Lamul Nasiba and there's no confusion. So and this lam does command us to do something. It is a commanding lam or it's a demanding lam. Okay. Okay. So the next question for our review is determine the pronoun in fi'l mudari. So first we will focus on the pronoun and then I will ask you about the status of the fi'l mudari. Nakhafu. What do you think is a pronoun? Just give me pronoun. I don't need anything. I need a pronoun. Nakhafu. Nakhafu. Nahnu. Whosoever has right nahnu and we, they are right because nakhafu, how do you know? Noon. Simple, right? When we were doing our learning our pronouns, yes, it is hidden, it is not visible. Nahnu is not visible, but we made it a hint, right? Remember how we remember it? That if noon with noon, we are going to just correlate them together, that noon of nahnu and noon in fi'l mudari, the alamatul mudari is going to be noon when the pronoun that is hidden in fi'l mudari is nahnu. Similarly, when the pronoun hidden with fi'l mudari is ana, the alamatul mudari is, what is the alamatul mudari when the hidden pronoun? Never alif. You can never have alif as alamatul mudari. It is hamza. My dear sisters, go back to your review from session number 39. Please see the sheet. Please go over the worksheet. Okay, that will inshallah help you remember because alif can never be in the beginning of the letter. Let me bring it up here so that this mistake never happens again. Okay, let's see if I have something here that is easy to bring. Okay. 39. It should be here. Always remember, there is a difference between alif and hamza, right? So alif can never be in the beginning of the word. You will never see alif in the beginning of the word because it is it's a letter that is daiman sukoon. So can in Arabic a word begin with sukoon? Do you think in Arabic a word can begin with sukoon? What do you think, my dear sisters? Can you see a word in Arabic, in Quran, you open a Quran and then you see a word beginning with sukoon? It never happens, my dear sisters. Remember, if you do not know, there is no shame in learning. When I started my grammar journey, I was not even I would not even call myself at a kindergarten level. I was bad. It was bad for me. So, so if I can learn, at that point when I go back and think, what did I do in these past 4 or 5 years? So I always tell myself and others that, if I can learn something, as I'm still in the process of learning, and then anyone in this world can, and they can master this language and they can try, they can, nobody can claim perfection, but we all can always try, right? So always remember, your word can never begin with alif, okay? It's hamza. And hamza, always, go back to your slides and make sure, you see what is written there, okay? So coming back to our today's review, okay. So this was nakhafu has nahnu in it. What about yafruta? What is, I think I have to enlarge it because I'm sure it's not very clear for many of us, including myself. Yafruta is huwa. Barakallahu fi. Is it visible? My dear sisters, is it visible? Or mustatir? Ad-damir al-mustatir. Barakallahu fi. Yatgha. What do you think? Huwa. Barakallahu fi. Visible or mustatir? Mustatir. I think you meant to write mustatir, right? And it was auto-corrected to majzoom. Tashqa. Tashqa. What do you think? What's the pronoun? It can be hiya tashqa, or it can be anta. So now look at the context of the words. Ma anzalna alayka. Here there was alayka, ka fataka. We did not reveal upon you al-Quran, the Quran, litashqa, so that you are burdened. So is it here or anta? Here anta. Barakallahu feek, my dear sisters. But here and anta, both are correct answers. But if you see a verse and you have a context available to yourself, so try to determine based on the context. But here and anta, both are possible. Barakallahu feek. So they are both are possible, and here comes first. So if somebody has written here and just focused on the word, that is absolutely correct answer. Okay. Okay. Now, is the pronoun here or anta mustatir or baris? It is mustatir. Barakallahu feek, my dear sister. This ta here, what do you call this ta in the beginning of the word? English will work as well. If you answer this in English, sign. It is a sign of Modari. Alamatul Modari. Okay? Always remember. Always remember. Feel free to write whatever you can to answer. If I'm going too fast, remind me. Sometimes, not always. Tajhar. What do you think? Tajhar. Barakallahu feek, my dear sisters. So, yes, both possibilities are there. It can be hiya or it can be anta. So, yes. Okay. Ya'lamu. What do you think? Now, this one. Ya'lamu. It is huwa. So, remember one thing as well. So, we have given both possibilities, and I'm sure now each and every sister of mine knows that the pronoun is hidden. Tajhar, I don't see any pronoun. Ya'lamu, I don't see any pronoun. Only 4 pronouns are visible in Fi'l Mudari. That Sister Aisha already answered in the beginning of our session. She gave me alif, she gave me waw, she gave me noon, and she gave me ya, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Sister Aisha? Yes. And everyone is now well versed with that? And will not forget those pronouns? And will know that what alif is for isnay, waw is for jama'a, noon is for noonun niswa, feminine plural, ya is for anti, ya al-mukhataba. Okay, now let's see here. Takhaf. What do you think? Takhaf. The question is, what is the pronoun in takhaf? I need a pronoun first. It is you. Barakallahu. Yes, it is you, and we will inshallah come back to that question inshallah very soon. What is a pronoun in talbisu? Barakallahu feek. But if you see the whole together, now, yes, waw is the pronoun. Barakallahu feek is visible, it's a pronoun now with ta in the beginning and waw. What do you think? You all? Barakallahu feek. Taktumu. Again, waw is the pronoun, and that's a correct answer. Waw is the correct answer. But if you combine the alamatul mudari and waw, what is in English your pronoun? How by looking at the beginning alamatul mudari and waw, you will come to the final diagnosis, which is you all, right? It's a plural, and also we know it is a second person plural because of ta in the beginning. If there was ya in the beginning, what will be the pronoun? Antum. Yes, here it is antum. If there was ya in the beginning, what will be the pronoun? They is the pronoun. Barakallahu fi. Easy. Li, we will skip li. Nuriya, what do you think? Nuriya. Vi, how did you determine? that what helped you determine? What helped you determine that we is the pronoun in Nuria? Noon, very well done. You know that when your alamatul mudari is noon, your pronoun that is hidden, that is the damir al mustatir in your mudari, that is nahnu. Barakallahu fiik. No sirah. No sirah. Nahnu. Barakallahu fiik. Since we just did it, I'm not going to go over again. Okay. Taqdi. Guys there? So it is telling you, it's you. Here, by context, it is you. Yes. So what could be the other possibility? Sister Samina, what is the other possibility for this word? Very well done. Sister Zarina, there is, yes, it can be feminine, third person feminine singular. Yaghfira, huwa, and the pronoun is invisible. It's mustatir. Nusabbiha, we. Naskura, nahnu we. Yulki, ya is the alamatul mudari. Ya is the alamatul mudari. So the pronoun here is huwa, right? Yulqi, huwa. Ya'khudh, again, huwa. Okay, look at this one. Taniya. It's a difficult word, but try. What do you see here? Taniya. This one, my dear sister. So you see ata here. Do you see anything that could be your pronoun? Here you want to see? Alif is a pronoun, 2 is the number, yes. So is it? So it could, so it is alif dual, very well done. Alif dual. So you too can be the possibility, right? You too can be the possibility. You too masculine, you too feminine is a possibility. There are two possibilities. The third possibility is they too females, right? Huma. Third possibility is huma. Barakallahu feek. So it is antuma, and huma possible. It could be possibility here. Okay, and we will determine it in few minutes. Okay. Yafruta. Yafruta. It is huwa. Barakallahu feek. Yatgha. Takhafa. Dual. Barakallahu feek. And I am seeing these answers from those people who, to my knowledge, are learning Arabic for the first time, and they are simply amazing me how they, alhamdulillah, how they are doing it. Barakallahu feek, Sister Marine, huma, antuma are also the possibilities. Barakallah, dual, number one. First of all, we know that it is dual. The dual is dual because of aliful ithnain. Because now we know our aliful ithnain is always about dual. So then when we have determined that the dual is dual, with ta in the beginning, we are left with three possibilities, right? Huma is the first possibility, which refers to two females, second person. And so two females, third person. And then it can also be two males, second person, two people, feminine, second person, right? So huma, antuma masculine, antuma feminine are three possibilities for this verb, not verb, for this phrase. Asma'u, asma'u. Ana asma'u. Barakallahu feek, barakallahu feek. How do we know? Hamza. Can we ever call it alif? Never, never. I never want to hear any sister calling sign of Modari alif. It is Hamza. Barakallahu fi. Taqarra. Taqarra. So now look at the word. What could be the root letters of this word? Qaf, ra, ra are the root letters. So it could be hiya taqarra, number one, right? Hiya taqarra, because the first in the pronoun table is hiya, right? After huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, and then comes anta. So the second possibility could be anta. So we will determine what it is, but the hiya or anta are the two possibilities. What do you think about tahzana? It is you. Can it be hiya as well? Yeah, right. There's a possibility, right? And will determine that based on the context of the verse, inshallah. Tulqiya. What do you think? Tulqiya. Same. Nakuna. We. Yahilla. Yahilla. Huwa. Huwa. Right? Ya is there. Damir is al-mustatir. But this ya is there, and the root letters are not being followed by any aliful isnain, wawil jama'a, nunun niswa. So the only possibility is huwa, right? Everyone is on board with this so far? With the pronouns, everyone is comfortable? Okay, now let's come back to the question. Determine the pronoun in fi'l mudari and the status of fi'l mudari. Now we will start doing our status. Nakhafu, give me the status. Let's make things easy for you. So nakhafu, you can use R for marfu status, you can use M for mansoob, and you can use J for majzoom. Okay. Nakhafu is marfu, mudari marfu. What about yafruta? Yes, it is mansoob, mudari mansoob. What about yatgha? It is mansoob, right? Why am I going to call it mudari mansoob? I don't see any fatha. Yeah, very good job, because the word is ending with alif maqsura. So there's no way I can determine if it has fatha, the makasra. So I will just look at what is before it, right? I will look at the context, and my context, which means I will see whatever is coming before it, and this will, inshallah, always going to be there to help me determine. The more I know, the more I will be able to open up things. Inshallah, things will be more clear with every session, inshallah, and with more I learned, inshallah. So an was there, an was before it. So I know this is one of the haruf that makes mudari mansoob. So that is why I'm going to say this is my mudari mansoob. What about li tashqa? Because of harful nasiba before it. Yes, li is before it, and that's why I'm going to call it mansoob. And here is the haraka muqaddara or zahira? What do you think? M is for muqaddara, Z is for zahira. Barakallahu feek. Aisha, so proud of you. Imagine, yes, assuming that it is there. It is because I cannot see it there, right? I'm assuming, I'm imagining by excluding everything else. So it's my diagnosis of exclusion, because there is, and I know there is something there that makes it, mansoob. So I'm just going to call it that there is a fatha there that is not visible, but it's muqaddara. It is muqaddara. right? Because alif maksura, this alif will never have any haraka. So in this case, what we say is this is muqaddara. And muqaddara means that we are imagining and we are calculating that this has to be there because li was before the word. Right? If it was visible, I will take you back to, inshallah, that concept that we did. It should be in session number 39 as well. So in there, we have, determined that, how sometimes, if it is visible, we call the haraka zahira. And if it is not visible, then we call haraka muqaddara, because of whatever is present before the fail, it helps us determine the status of the fail. Okay, tajhar. What do you think about tajhar? The status. Now we are on status. Very well done. It is majzoom. Barakallahu feek, my dear sister. So in was there, and in is from one of the haruful jazima, which makes Modari majzoom. Ya'lamu. What do you think about the status? Very good, very good. It is marfu bid-dammatul zahira, because dhamma is visible. When something is visible, we call it zahir, right? Takhaf. What do you think about the status here? Very well done. It is majzoom. Majzoom, because sakun is there on the last letter. That helps us determine it. Now tell me, we have learned a la in our last session. So this la, what is the name for this la? La nahiya, right? La nahiya. This la, there was la, lam, right? There was lam, that was lamul amr, but this is la with alif added, right? There is an alif added in its belly. It sits on its belly. This alif, you all can see, right? So this la is a commanding kind of a la. It demands something from you, right? There may be a la that may be just informative, right? But this one is commanding. Do not fear, O Musa. Okay, because this surah was supposed to be done with advanced students, which we have not yet started because of lack of manpower. But inshallah, very soon we will be doing the surah as well. But yeah, this is la nahiya. Everyone clear on this? No questions? Because if it was of the regular status, then this la would have been, if it was la takhafu, then I would call this la as, what will be the name for the la? Who remembers? If it was la takhafu in the regular status, la nafiya. In that case, if it was of the regular form, if Modari was in regular form, la takhafu, like nakhafu, if it would be la takhafu, then it would be la nafiya, because that la is la amala laha. It does not work. It is ghair amila. Okay, it does not work. It does not affect Modari in any way, shape, or form. Is this clear, my dear sisters? I kept it on here so that in case we need to go back, yes, my dear sister, yes. So one is la nahiya. It is of commanding, or you can, just say it is forbidding la as well. Like, it asks you not to do something, but this la, nafiya, is a plain la. It is just an informative la. Like when I say la ya'lamuna, they do not know. I'm not asking them to do anything, right? I'm just telling them, I'm just providing an information about these people, right? About these they who are there here in this fi'l mudari. But if I say la ya'lamu, that means they should not know this, and I will put an exclamation mark after it. So that la that demands something from you is called la nahiya, and that la that comes in front of a statement and just provides you information about something is la nafiya. Yeah. So just go over this if you have not, and if there is still any question, let me know. So yes, if it was la takhaf, if it was as in our verse, it is la takhaf. So la is la nahiya, because mudari was majzoom, right? This la is followed by mudari majzoom because it is amla. It makes its mudari majzoom. That is why I put it under your harufe jazima, right? In harufe jazima, I put this la here because it makes mudari majzoom. Is this clear now? Okay, and this guy here is li. If can you see the spellings, right? This guy here is your lamul amr. And this demands something from you in a musbat way, like, do something, they should do, they should eat, they should pray, they should give zakah, okay, something like that. And this forbids you from doing something. Don't eat, don't hide, right? I hope this is clear. And if still not clear, feel free to ask my questions, okay? Inshallah. La talbisu. What do we think about this one? Is now tell me, determine the type of la here as well. We already have determined everything. So this la is, yes, it is majzoom. The status of mudari is majzoom. Barakallahu feek. So this la will again be la nahiya, right? La nahiya, because do not mix the truth with falsehood. Because when you mix it, nothing remains of truth. Always remember, okay? You must have been saying everything correct, but one lie among 100 truths make everything lie. This is a lesson for everyone. And as adults, we also need to know that. Sometimes you think that, our kids need to learn all these basic, things, but sometimes we tend to forget things as well and need to be reminded. That is why we have the zikra with us. We have to, go back to it again and again. Okay. So here again, taktumu. What is happening here to taktumu? What is the status? Number one, tell me the status. Majzoom. Barakallahu feek, my dear sister. Very well done. Yes, it is majzoom. Now tell me, how was it made majzoom? That is an important thing that you need to be very clear. Very well done. Whosoever has written it is matuf. Sister Amreen, barakallahu feek. There is, and Sister Azra, barakallahu feek. Very well done. So now what happened here is, if somebody asks you, how is this majzoom? You are going to mention this wow. Because there is wow atf that helped, in transference of status from talbisu to taktumu, right? This wow atf helps in transference of status because of it is majzoom bil atf, okay? Majzoom bil atf, bil wow atf or whatever. Is it clear, my dear sisters? This is your time when you need to know these small things. When you were, when we do basic grammar, sometimes, we end up telling students, okay, yeah, this la is acting here, this la is acting here. But that may not be the most precise way of learning things, okay? But to a beginner, you don't want to overwhelm them, okay? So now, since we are fine-tuning whatever we have learned before, so it is very important that we go over each and every letter, right? And that's why we are saying that we have a waw here, and when Sister Ambreen wrote this is matuf, and when Sister Azra mentioned atf here, that was clear that they have an idea that the status must have been transferred by wow. Okay, I hope everyone is well versed with that concept now. Okay, just as we do with Fatiras Samawati wal Ard, we don't say that Al Ardi is the Mudafi Lehi. We just call it Matuf on As Samawat. Okay. Once upon a time we did Idafas and Murakkabe Atf, And we learned all those things there. Okay, so if somebody has forgotten, please go over the previous sessions. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, by the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we do have our recordings. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, enable us to benefit from them, inshallah. So now, Nuriya, what is the status here? Yes, there is lamun nasiba there, and ya is carrying a fatha. And ya is carrying a fatha. When it comes to mansoob status of fail, you inshallah, I will take you back to the slides, and inshallah I will explain how things work here. But let's just finish this off, and then we'll go back. What about taqdi? What's the status? It's easy. Taqdi. It's rough in status, right? It is rough. Taqdi is rough in status. Ya is intact. Ya is intact. If it was jazm in status or majzoom in status, what would happen to ya? It will drop. It will drop. Okay. If it was nasb in status, what will happen to ya? It will get fatha, just like in Nuriya. In Nuriya, ya got fatha. Similarly, if it was nasb in status, it would get fatha. Waw and ya. I'm going to take you back to my slides, and I will show you how it's going to work again, because the purpose of these sessions is that you all learn everything. Okay, so it's not that one person comes in and they say something and then the session is off and here we go. No, the goal is to make you all benefit from them, inshallah. Whichever level you are, it does not matter. It is to bring everyone to a level that is higher than the level they were on before, inshallah. Okay, so taqdi is with ya intact, so cannot be majzoom, right? Does not have fatha, cannot be mansoob. Now, if it is marfu by default, and the only option left is marfu, and just like ism is rough by default, fi'l is also rough by default. So where is the dhamma? Is it zahira or muqaddara? Give me one letter. It is muqaddara. Now you are going, what are you doing now here? You're assuming it to be there. Everyone, please note that you are assuming it to be there, right? Now let's see this word, yaghfira. It's mansoob in status, barakallahu feek. Nusabbiha is again mansoob or nasb in status because of kay. I told you that kay can be li kay, it can be kay only, and it can be, the word can only come up as li here. Okay. Nazkura. What do you think is happening here? Nazkura. It's nasb in status. Why? Matuf. Barakallahu fi. That's a beautiful answer. It's a matuf on nusabbiha. And that way I will know that my participants have understood this concept, how waw is, helping in transferring the status. The waw transfer, this waw here, waw atf, is transferring the status from nusabbiha to nazkura. Here, there are many words here. This is not one word. So who can help me with all those words? What is this first letter here? Fa. What could it be? We have not studied it in detail, this fa, but we have, this is a regular fa here. Okay, this is regular fa because it is being followed by lam that is with sukoon, right? It's atf because only fa atf is going to make lam have a sukoon, right? Waw, fa, summa. It has to be atf because lam is now here with sukoon. And this lam is lamul amr. So what it does to its fail? It makes it, Lamul Amr makes its fail Majzoom. Barakallahu fi. Everyone, remember, Lamul Amr make its Modari Majzoom, right? It's haruf, it is from Harufu Jazmatu lil Modari, right? Now come back. What are the root letters from root letters for Yulki? What do you think? It is something to throw, you know, it means to throw. Lam, lam, qaf, ya. So what happens to ya, waw, alif if they are the last letters, and when a word has waw, alif, ya as a last letter, that gets dropped when there is something that makes it majzoom. It could be a letter, it could be an ism, it could be harf ism, or it could be something else that we will inshallah learn in future, okay? That can make mudare majzoom. What about here? What's the status? Yahuz. The word is ending with sakoon. Yahuz. Majzoom. There's no other option. It is a harf that is sahih. So if it is harf sahih, the status is shown by sakoon, and that is present, right? Khuz is with sakoon. Now one thing here. There were first word was fa, which was harf atf. The second was lamul amr. Third was fail mudare majzoom, yulqi. And the last word was, what is he here? What is this he? It's a pronoun. What's the status? Very well done. Yes, it's always going to be mafu when it is going to attach itself. So it's nasbin status. This he is nasbin status. Barakallahu feek. Now see here. Oh my God, I think I will not be able to cover anything new today, but that's okay. Okay, la taniya. What was the original form? What is missing here? Just tell me the letter missing. Noon is missing. So from which afal is this word? What do you think? This word is from af'alul khamsa. Barakallahu feek. So if the noon is dropped, so this noon is dropped. So the status of the mudare could, what do you think about the status of the mudare here? It is majzoom. Yes, it is majzoom, but what helps you determine it is majzoom for sure? I agree, it is this is majzoom. 100% agree with you. La, very well done. This la is called la nahiya again, right? La nahiya, which makes your mudare majzoom. Do not fall short in my remembrance, right? You too, do not fall short in my remembrance. Okay. So now come here. Yafruta, give me the status. Nasbin status because of an. Yatgha. I think we did it. No, we did not. So it's again nasbin status, and this fatha that was supposed to be there, is it a zahira or muqaddara? Muqaddara. It is muqaddara. Barakallahu fik, my dear sister. Takhafa. Tell me from which afal this word belongs to, because this word has something that makes it belong to a special category of fi'l mudari. Khamsa, because of what does it have that helped it be included in afalul khamsa? Alif. Alif was there. Barakallahu fik. When it has alif pronoun, waw pronoun, ya al-mukhatiba as pronoun, inbuilt pronoun, your fail is going to be from af'alul khamsa. Barakallahu feek. Now, what is the status here? Majzoom because of la nahiya. You too do not fear. Okay? Clear, everyone? So la nahiya is a commanding la. It demands the doer to do something, or not to do something, actually, not to do something. So when we were learning from, we were very clear, and we would be, calling it a forbidding or fail nahi. But when I go back and see, the lectures from people who are teaching traditional Arabic, Quranic Arabic, they don't say fail nahi very much. So they will only be using this term amr. Okay. So, but keep that in mind that, this combination together, la with the khafa, according to Bayina, is going to be labeled as fail nahi, and that sounds correct as well. There's nothing wrong with that as well. So, Asma, what do you think is the status? Right? Taqarra, what's the status? Nasbin status, tahzana. It's also Nasbin status. What is this la here? Now give me the name for this la. Simple La. Very well done. Very beautiful name. Simple La, which is called La Nafia. Barakallahu fi. It is Nafia, right? La Nafia or simple La, plain La, my regular La. Very well done. Okay. Tulkiya. Okay, now a very good question by Sister Aisha. That why we are calling it regular is that, am I understanding your question correctly, Aisha? Yes. So Aisha, did you notice La only makes Mudari after it majzoom, right? But this Mudari was not majzoom. So La Nahiya, if it was La Nahiya, it would make it majzoom. But this was mansoob. So this is plain La. I'm not going to call it La Nahiya. I'm just going to call it La Nafiya because it has no action. Ghair Amila, without any action. It did not change Mudari. Yes, everyone is trying to help Aisha here, right? Is it clear, Aisha? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, right? Because the only thing La can do to its fail Mudari is it makes it Madzum. So if it is Nasbin status, that means it is without an action. There is something that is behind it that is working on that. It's just the Waw that transferred the status from Taqarra to Tahzana. Alhamdulillah. So, Antulkiya, did we do this one? Is right, Nasbin status? Did we call it Nasbin status or what? Yes, because it Ya has Dhamma, Fatha, that is a Zahira, right? Nakuna, what do you think? It's Nasbin status. Yahilla. It's Nasbin status. Barakallahu feek. I think that was it for my review. So now I'm going to take you back to what we did in, and what you need to know. When it comes to your Mudari Marfu, it has this many options, okay? If the word is Sahihul Akhir, like, our last word is not something like a weak letter which includes Alif, Waw, or Ya. What are the weak letters, Sister Samina? I want to answer from Sister Samina. Okay, good. Alif. Give me the rest too. Waw. Good job. And Ya. So the rest of the letters, they are your Sahih letters, okay? The rest letters are Sahih letters. So if your word is ending with the last letter that is Sahih, what will be the Alamatul Raf? Alamatul Raf will be Ad-Dammatul Zahira. It will have a Dhamma that will be visible. Zahira means it will be visible. Is it clear, everyone? If your last letter is going to be Mu'attal, what are the weak letters? Mu'attal means weak, or Harufe Illa means weak letters. What are the weak letters we just did? Alif, Waw, or Ya. Okay? No. Now what will happen is Dhamma will be there, but it will be implied. And this implied is going to be called Ad-Dhammatul Muqaddara. Right? It's going to be called ad-dammatul muqaddara. Is it clear? Your word will be ending with ya, mim, sheen, ya, the root letters, but I will say it may have sukoon according to some transcripts. In Usmani, you don't see sukoon, but other rest of the scripts might have, the other ways of writing may have sukoon here on the ya, but I know this ya is carrying a dhamma, that is al-muqaddara, okay, implied dhamma. In case of waw, same thing will happen. It may be in with sukoon in Pakistani or Quran, Indo-Pak Quran, but in Usmani you don't see any haraka, but you will say that there is a implied dhamma here. Is this clear, my dear sisters? The third way to show rough status in case of Modari, when your word belongs to al-af'al al-khamsa, what happens to that? It will have what? Intact. Noon intact, right? It will have its noon intact. It will be rough, be subutun noon. And this noon is called noonul i'rab, and it also is called noonul rough according to some books, okay? Because when it is present, it denotes that my mudari is a rough in status. So it is also called noonul rafa, okay? Or rough, okay? And it is also called noonul i'rab because this is the one that determines the status of my mudari. If it is there, it means my mudari is marfu. If it is absent, then I know either it is mansub or it is manzoom. Now I will take you to the next slide, which shows you signs of mudari in the mansub status. So when your mudari is mansub, you will have a fatha, right? That is visible in case of huwa, hiya, anta, in case of ana, nahnu, right? If your last letter is what? Your last letter has to be sahih, right? It has to be sahih. It's going to be carrying a fatha. But here, there's a difference from rough status. If your letter is waw and ya, if your letter is a weak letter, but is waw or ya, then what happens? It does carry fatha. Right? It is different from this one, from rough status, where it never carries dhamma, right? It can never have the you or yamshi you or yad wu. It never happens here. But in case of mansub status, what happens is that your waw and ya can get fatha. Is this clear? As we have done here, when we were seeing our mudari mansub, we see linuriya here. Where was it? Where did you? Where are you? Here. Here. See? You see ya fatha here. If you're in case of nasb status, your fatha will be zahir, will be visible with not only with sahih letters, but also with waw and ya. In Quran, we see yad'uwa. In Quran, we do see yahdiya. So alif, in case of alif, will never carry, because alif can never take any haraka. Alif is sakunan daiman. It's always sakoon with sakoon. It cannot take any haraka. So here, fatha will be muqaddara only when the last letter is weak letter and is alif. Okay? So fatha will be zahir in case of alamatun, when your mudari is mansoob. Fatha will be zahir in case of sahih letters, if your last letter is sahih. And also when your last letter is waw and ya, which are the weak letters, they can carry fatha. It's just that they cannot carry dhamma. Clear or no? They will not, waw and ya cannot carry dhamma, but they can take fatha in nasb status. Okay? So in case of alif, it's always going to be implied haraka. In case of afalul khamsa, what happens? In case of nasb status, what will happen to your mudari? Wake up. Only 5 minutes. Drop noon. right? You just simply drop noon and your mudari is going to be mansoob in status. Now the last slide was again how your mudari is going to be showing itself in case of jazm. What happens if it is sahih, like in case of ra, zal, they are sahih letters, right? They are not weak letters like alif, waw, or ya. So what happens to them? They will take sakoon. Is everyone good with this one? We all know that when mudari is going to be majzoom and the letter is sahih, it's not weak letter, it's going to take sakoon. In case of afalul khamsa, it's going to drop its noon. However, when it comes to alif, waw, and ya, every time, what happens to alif, waw, and ya? In case of majzoom status, they get dropped. They get dropped. Please go over this. They get dropped. Yad'u becomes yad'u. Tarda becomes tarda with one haraka only. Yahdi becomes yahdi. I hope this is clear. There was some imla mistakes in my session number 39, I guess. And I have made an addendum to that. And also there was because I copy pasted this slide, so I have made, a correction. So please note that, okay? Yes, noon is dropped. Noon is dropped in both mansoob and majzoom cases of mudari. Okay, noon is dropped in both mansoob and majzoom cases. Okay, but letter gets dropped. The weak letter gets dropped only in case of majzoom status. Okay, got it? Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, and that is the whole point. If we need to learn something, we just need to go over it again and again and again, and inshallah things get more solidified. Okay, so now when it comes to your mudari majzoom, I have given you two groups of mudari, two groups of haruf. If you remember, Sister Spicer has sent you two slides: harufun nasiba lil mudari, haruful jazima lil mudari. Everyone got that list, and everyone must have memorized it. So who is going to come on mic and recite those two for me? Let's hear from you. We have 3 minutes, and I need not the meaning. Okay, very bad. Memorize them. By now, you should have been the master of that. So, who wants to come? If you know them in Urdu, that is fine too. Okay. If you know them in the language that you are studying your word to word in, that is fine. That is fine. Yes, you can unmute yourself, my dear sister.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So harufun nasba lil mudari.
Bismillah. An, lan, li kai, hatta, izan, infa sababiyya.
Barakallahu feek. Very well done. Who wants to come on mic now and recite to me haruful jazima lil mudari? I don't see anyone raising hands. Okay. Azra.
Ji, assalamu alaikum. In lamma la nahiya lamul amr li.
Very well done. In lamma li lamul amr and la nahiya. No, sister, I do not. I wish I had it. So, yeah, no, I do not. But if you have any question on anything, you can always ask, and I can help you with that. Okay, so now, there is one word here in among all the words that we have just done. When it comes to haruful jazima lil mudari, in is did you notice I have colored it little different from the rest? When it comes to in, there's always a reason for everything. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the reason for this one. So this in can affect two mudaris at the same time. It can affect two mudaris at the same time. Okay, so we'll learn more about that in our next session. I will have to end because it's already 1. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.